This video is brought to you by a huge mountain of drugs. Vorinclex Monsterous Raider versus Omnath Locus of Creation. Haven't seen or played that one in a while. We're pretty heavy on the stuff we've got in hand there. Yeah, I think I have to mulligan that one. Alright, well that's not incredible, but if we get into a Nature's Law or even a Cultivate, then no, it needs to be Nature's Law, some kind of 2 CMC spell to get Oracle out early. We'll risk that one. Just a Savannah from our opponent. We get into the Lignify, so just playing out a land and passing, and hopefully we don't just limp our way up to the Oracle. Omnath now, if they drop pretty much any land next turn, they can go for their commander, although we've got a Lignify for it at least. Just another land for us, so we'll at least have an additional land to play with the Oracle. A tap land from our opponent means that we're not going to be seeing Omnath. Instead going for Arcane Signet. And then trade routes. So down to 2 cards in hand, a Lignify might really hurt them. In Genesis Wave we cannot do anything with, but if we ramp a lot with Primeval Titan, then that might be our way of winning this one. Get a lot of free stuff into play with the Genesis Wave. Even more ramp, they can still get their commander into play, even after playing the Simic Signet. And instead of their commander, going for Kineos and Tyro of Meletis. I think we'll say no to the lands because we can catch up on those with Oracle, and we'll go for the card draw instead, getting into another land. They went for Gruul Turf, which means they have to bounce a land here. And there's Nissa Vital Force, which will be able to block the Kineos easily enough. Yeah, might be able to do something with Nissa actually. Let's play out the Oracle. And it's another land on top, so we'll clear that away. Getting to Oblivion Stone, we could really hurt our opponent with that. Might actually do that. They throw down their commander now, Omnath Locus of Rage, 4 cards in hand. And then going for Dryad of the Elysian Grove in order to have all of their lands tapped for any colours. A Myriad Landscape as well. And then getting down the Savannah, because they can play an additional land thanks to the Dryad, so that generates some colours for them. 1 card left, and it looks like they're going for something. That is Emeria Angel. So they can make some tokens next turn with the Myriad Landscape. I think we're just definitely aiming for the Oblivion Stone here. We'll let them hit us for 2 with the Kineos and Tyro. Now, if we play a land with Kineos and Tyro, that puts us on 6. And then 7 and 8 off the top. Maybe it's still not enough to play out Oblivion Stone and activate it, so yeah, I think we just go for the card draw here. And that is a Misty Rainforest, another land on top, so we'll just clear those off. Yep, and there's another one. Getting in towards Lightning Greaves. I think we'll throw away the Lignify here so that they don't get as many triggers with Omnath. We're going to lose the Lignify to the Oblivion Stone, but I think it's still worth doing that. And they scoop to that. I mean, they know we've got Oblivion Stone, but next turn they'll assumedly crack that because they've got the Emeria Angel. That will give them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so they can still go for their commander again after the Oblivion Stone anyway. Yeah, that last turn really accelerated them ahead through the Oblivion Stone, I think. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that, but hey, a win's a win, I'll take it. On to the next one, I think. Vorinclex Monsterous Raider, this time versus Grimgrin Corpseborn. Haven't seen that in a while either. And yeah, I think this is okay. We've got ramp unlike in the last game, so we'll keep that one. We are on the draw as well. A Mana Crypt on turn 1 from our opponent. They haven't played a land yet, but they do get into Dimir's Signet. Doesn't look like they're playing a land either. That's a risky one. I'd be tempted to punish them with Oblivion Stone here. They've only got 4 cards in hand. So yeah, we'll just drop the Forest, and we're going for Thought Vessel next turn into Kodama's Reach. We'll obviously lose our Thought Vessel with an Oblivion Stone, but it's less than our opponent's going to lose if they don't start making lands. Well, they're making mana at least, a Talisman of Dominance, and then in for Dreadhorde Invasion, so yeah, that is one zombie that they'll be able to get out of that, and it'll slowly get buffed over the course of the game. It all dies to Oblivion Stone though. Heroic Intervention could have us keep our Thought Vessel if we care about that, which I don't think we're going to. Just play out the Thought Vessel and pass. And there we go, our opponent manages to make a land. And now it is Liliana's Reaver. We can choose which card to discard with that, so yeah, I'm not necessarily too worried about that. I do want to get this Oblivion Stone closer to being activated though. Harrow. Yeah, I think it's still Kodama's Reach. It keeps cards in hand. Actually, we can go Harrow first, can't we? And then still Kodama's Reach, so yeah, that makes sense. Unless our opponent's got a Swan Song or a Spell Pierce or something like that. But they do not. So we'll go for the Kodama's Reach after that. Harrow brings in a couple of lands untapped, so allows us to do both in one turn. One onto the battlefield and one into hand. So we're on 5, 6, 7 next turn. So it's probably just Oblivion Stone into play to try and protect it. We can't activate it in the same turn, but we've got plenty of forest to discard anyway. So Liliana's Reaver swinging in at us. Not worthy that they've held back the zombie army. So we will discard a forest. They can have their zombie. And Ancient Tomb, does that make any difference? 5, 6, 7 and 8. No, we need 9 to play and activate it. I think we still want Ancient Tomb just for the ramp. Hopefully our opponent doesn't scoop to an O-Stone. Although you can't really blame them for scooping to that. We can actually put a fate counter on the Thought Vessel here as well, can't we? If we're not worried about losing the Oblivion Stone. We'll hold up Heroic Intervention until the end of the turn. A Rooftop Storm, alright. Is this just from the hand? Nope, it's just zombie spells in general, so they get a free Grimgrin. They did manage to make an island, by the way, and 2 cards left in hand. And swinging in with all of their zombies this time. So that will be 9 damage to us. And we will have to discard again to Liliana's Reaver. So at the end of the turn we'll put the fate counter on the Thought Vessel, we might as well. And then Oracle of Muldiah is nice. We'll just crack the Oblivion Stone here. Wipes out all of our opponent's stuff. They are down to 2 lands and yeah, I mean that was a pretty convincing one, wasn't it? Unlucky for our opponent that they didn't have any lands to make. Play the forest and the Oracle. And yeah, they scoop there, that's fair enough. On top, we don't know what we would have had because Magic Online won't show us, but not really a real game, is it? So we'll try again and see if we can actually make use of our commander this time. Alright, third time's a charm, hopefully. Juri, Master of the Review. I do actually want to make that deck, but I don't think anyone will actually watch it, so I'll just play it in private. Plenty of lands. We've got Ramp, an answer for their commander. Yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't just keep that one. Can try and get the double counters on Garrick the Wild Speaker, but I don't think we'll really make use of the overrun on that, to be honest. That's one of the Planeswalkers that we won't make use of in the early game anyway. A gamble, first thing, they go for... oh, and they've mulliganed down to 5, so that's even less chance of them keeping the card they gamble for. And end up discarding Morg War Marshal, so I dare say that they've got whatever they tutored for there. Just another land for us, so we'll throw that into play, probably Emerald Medallion next turn. I dare say our opponent gets out their commander here. Nope, instead going for Impact Tremors. So it looks as though this will be some kind of a Perforos build. A Wasteland is not going to be very useful for us, so we'll just go for that Emerald Medallion play. Okay, now going for Juri, and that will hit us for 1 with the Impact Tremors. Okay, Rishkar's Expertise. I think we just go for Song of the Dryads onto their commander maybe. We could get down the Garrick and just make a token with that. I think I'd rather have as much loyalty as possible, but I don't think we really have much means of driving our commander out really quickly, so let's just make a beast with the Garrick. It gives us a little bit of devotion for the Nykthos as well, so we can untap that with Garrick if we want to. Juri isn't a direct threat until they start going infinite or sacrificing lots of permanents over there. They can get rid of fetch lands and treasures and creatures, but they're not doing that yet, so we just have to hope that they don't get themselves into a sack outlet. Alright, well that is a sack outlet. Sacrifice a creature. It's a new one from Kaldheim. And now going for the Juri straight away, surprisingly. Search for a creature that shares a creature type with the sacrificed creature, and it has converted mana cost of 1 plus the CMC of the sacrificed creature. Put that onto the battlefield and shuffle your library. You can only do it as a sorcery, so it's pretty much the card that I forget the name of, Phyrexian green mana, and it can go in any deck. What are the card types on this? This is a human shaman creature type, and that allows them to go in for Imperial Recruiter, triggering impact tremors while they do it. And they grab themselves a Goblin Arsonist, and they don't have a sack outlet currently, so yeah, I mean we've got the Garrick anyway that we can plus with. Vernal Bloom is tempting. We could go Vernal Bloom, untap some lands, and still can't do much of anything after that. Maybe we just take away their sack outlet in this thing. They've only got 3 cards left in hand. Yeah, let's go for the Nykthos. We'll go Vernal Bloom to ramp, and then we can untap 2 lands. So we've got 6 mana available to us there. It's only 5 mana for the Rishkar's Expertise. Maybe we draw some cards here. They can go Goblin Arsonist. Sacrificed is only 1 damage. We might lose the Garrick here, but I think it's worth trying to just get some kind of advantage over our opponents. So let's draw 3 cards and play something for free. Okay, an Oracle of Muldiah. There's the Oblivion Stone again. I think we go Oracle, try and clear lands off the top. Okay, a Greater Good instead. Let's go for the... what's the creature type? It's just a Phyrexian Praetor, so we'll just name Praetor. Don't think we need to worry about counter magic, but you never know. And with that, I think we are done. They play down the Goblin Arsonist straight away. And sacrificing it to Village Rites, that will draw them a couple of cards. Dealing the damage directly to Garrick. And then going for Zulaport Cutthroat, pecking away at us with the enchantment. And there is a Skirk Prospector. They don't have any other goblins in play at the moment, so not all that worried about that one just yet. There is a Nature's Law. There's no means for us to shuffle our library around. We've got Devotion to Green of 4 at the moment, so might just go for Greater Good and then untap it. So we'll go Nykthos, tap down a single forest to do that, and then we'll untap the 2 lands before we lose it to I don't know what. They're tapped out, but just a good habit to get into, I think. So we'll go Greater Good, which only costs 3. And then why don't we go for Vorinclex here, I think, because that does have haste and we can start giving our opponent a hard time with that. We'll go Song of the Dryads onto their sack outlet, and then I think we can just go Oblivion Stone. Might hold on to the Wasteland for the Avenger of Zendikar. Although we've got Oracle, are we likely to get into a bunch of lands off the top? We can get at least 1 there, so maybe we just play the Wasteland. Anyway, let's swing in our opponent with Vorinclex. Trample and haste on that. Yeah, I think I'll hold on to the Wasteland for now. It's 4 to put a fate counter on something with O-Stone anyway. So if that was a forest, I'd probably have played it and then just put a fate counter on Vernal Bloom or something, just in case we need to use the artifact. But there is Juri, Master of the Review again. And Putrid Goblin is a 2/2 with persist. So I'm glad we've taken away their, what is this, Pyre of the Heroes now. They've got 6 power and 6 toughness in play. We could take out all of their creatures with our Vorinclex if they decide to block everything with that, which I wouldn't be entirely against. Alright, a Thought Vessel, so we can shuffle that away with Nature's Law. Let's see what they do. I think I want the Vorinclex in play before we go for Avenger of Zendikar. So, yeah, let's go Avenger of Zendikar before anything else. Making a bunch of mana with the Nykthos. Won't get too many plants, but they will be really big. Yeah, 5 isn't too bad. We'll go for the Nature's Law to shuffle the Thought Vessel away, and it will trigger landfall on the Avenger of Zendikar, which will be 2 counters on each of the plants. And that gets us into a land on the top. So we'll play the land straight away. And now it's a Worldly Tutor on top. So we'll just drop the Wasteland, and that jumps the plants up to 6/7s. So then we can sacrifice one of these plant tokens, and that will draw us 6 cards. We discard 3. Let's get rid of Krosan Grip, the Misty Rainforest, and Heroic Intervention is better to keep hold of, so we'll get rid of Worldly Tutor, play the Vivian, and then let's untap with the Garrick just to give it more loyalty. Untap a Forest and the Nykthos. She comes down with a bunch of loyalty, so you can reveal a creature you own from outside the game and put it in hand. We're not going to make use of that. Let's just put some plus counters on some things. We'll put it on Avenger of Zendikar and Vorinclex. Each of those gets a couple of plus counters instead, and the Avenger will get Trample, which will be useful because we're going Lightning Greaves here. Put the Greaves on the Avenger, and we'll swing in with both of those. So now they can block if they want to, but they don't have much toughness, and they can't take out either creature thanks to the plus counters. So our opponent taking a huge hit, going up to 14 commander damage and down to 9 life. And I think we're just holding it at that. Yeah, we'll hold up Heroic Intervention and the Oblivion Stone. But even with a board wipe, our opponent's going to struggle here. They're going to need to go infinite, really. A Farfinder. Enters the battlefield, search for a basic, put it into your hand. Yeah, that won't do much of anything for them. Triggers the Impact Tremors. I think our only out our opponent really had was the Pyre of Heroes, being able to tutor things straight into play. And they just played a land, so our opponent valiantly playing it out. But I think it's likely that we've got them here. Okay, they sacrificed their Black Goblin to the Skirk Prospector. So that will trigger Impact Tremors, Zulaport Cutthroat, and Juri, Master of the Review, will get a plus counter on it. The Putrid Goblin, do they have infinite here? That has Persist. When it dies, if it had no minus counters on it, return it with a minus counter. I don't know why it didn't have a minus counter on it there. Oh, that's why, yeah, of course. That's actually really funny. They've got infinite here thanks to our Vorinclex. They can't have a minus counter put on it with Persist. Yeah, because of our Vorinclex, luckily we have a sack outlet here, so we'll wait for them to sacrifice the Putrid Goblin again. They've got 0 cards in hand, so we're not all that worried about the amount of mana that they can produce with the Skirk Prospector. Yeah, I was thinking about all the different cards they've got in play there and how they're managing to go infinite. But they'll force us to sacrifice our Vorinclex here. We'll get some card advantage from it at least. So they sacrifice the Putrid Goblin again. And nearly comboing ourselves there, but we'll sacrifice the Vorinclex so that it does come in with a plus counter. And then we will decide what to discard. Let's just get rid of Harrow. I think we can get rid of a Forest and a Forest. And there we go, coming in with a minus counter on it now, so we just have to make sure not to play our Vorinclex again, which I don't think we need to. And even if we do, we can sacrifice it thanks to greater good. So they see the writing on the wall there at that point. We just start going wide on them next turn, or at least forcing them to block. And then once they've blocked, they'll obviously lose these creatures, and then we can just start, well, we probably just get them next turn after that. Not sure if we were going to draw into anything all that relevant. We would have drawn Elemental Bond and then been able to play a couple of lands off the top if we wanted to. Don't even know if I would have bothered with Gaia's Cradle there. Had triple mana from Nyxbloom Ancient, an additional mana on each of our forests from the Nissa. So yeah, I don't think we could have lost even if we tried to there. Just unlucky for our opponent. I think they had to mulligan down quite a lot. And then when we got rid of their Pyre of Heroes, that pretty much spelt the end for them there, I think. Looks like a very capable deck though, but mono green just did mono green things this time. If you enjoyed that, then please be sure to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe. You can support on Patreon through the link in the description below as well if you want to. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.